Cast method. What does it mean? How to use in a LINQ query. Let's learn more about this method. This method is used to convert a collection of objects into a different type or interface. The cast method holds the key to seamless type conversions, granting you access to specific properties and methods of the target type. By utilizing this method, you can effortlessly convert from one type to another, enabling you to perform intricate operations with ease. Before we dive deep into the cast method, it's essential to grasp two fundamental conversion types: unboxing conversion and reference conversion. These concepts lay the groundwork for a better understanding of the cast method and its capabilities. Let's kick off with unboxing conversion. Unboxing conversions are type conversions that involve extracting a value type from an object previously boxed. So, unboxing conversions are all about taking a special value from a box. For example, I have the following object variable, where I stored an integer number. This number is hidden inside an object box. This is called boxing. Now, we want to get that number back and use it as a regular number again. This process is called unboxing. We can do that using a cast function, such as 𝑐𝑖NT. Here I got the number and stored it in an integer variable. This is what unboxing conversion means. There are many different functions, which can be used for unboxing conversions. Some of them are direct cast, try cast, ctype, etc. You can use these functions to unbox a value from object. That's all about unboxing conversions. Let's now switch to the second conversion type, reference conversion. Reference conversions are type conversions that involve converting between compatible reference types. A reference type is a type that holds a reference to an object in the computer's memory. A reference conversion is safe because it doesn't alter the object itself, only the way we refer to it. In simpler terms, it allows us to treat an object as if it were a different type, but the object remains the same. To understand this better, let's look at an example. I have the following sequence. I created two variables. The first one is of type data table. The other one is of type string array. Suppose I want to get the column names of the table and store them in the array variable. Here I define the table. It contains the following 4 columns and 3 rows. After that I used an assign activity to write the LINQ query. I want to store the output of the query in this variable. Here is the query. In the first clause I am using the data table variable with the property columns. This property returns the columns of the table as data column collection. After that I am selecting the column names using the range variable with the property column name. As you can see, the query is incorrect and we need to make some changes. Let's remove this property and check which properties and methods does this variable have. As you see, I only have these methods, because the variable is not of type data column. It's of type object. I have to change the object collection to data column collection, so that I can use the methods and properties of data column type. Here is where the cast method comes into play. I will use cast method in this way. This statement returns a collection of data column. It's 𝑖Enumerable of data column. This means, the range variable is now of type data column. Now I am allowed to use the methods and properties of data column type. As you can see, I have now more properties and methods. These belong to data column class. I can use column name property to return the column name. The query is now correct. What does that mean? What is the purpose of using cast method? Let's break down this statement here to understand what happened. My table represents a variable of type data table. It refers to an instance of a data table object. Columns is a property of the data table class that represents the collection of columns, data column collection, within the data table. Data column collection contains information about each column in the data table. Data column collection inherits from internal data collection base, which also inherits from object. Therefore, when we access the columns property, it returns a collection of objects. This means that the type of the collection is not explicitly data column, but rather, it's a collection of objects. Since the collection is of type object, we cannot directly use the properties and methods specific to the data column type. However, we can use the cast method to convert the objects in the collection to the desired type, data column. The cast method is used to convert each element in the column's collection to the specified type, which in this case, is data column. It effectively transforms the collection of objects into a collection of data column instances. This process of transforming the collection from object to data column is called reference conversion. So, I didn't change the object itself, but only the reference to the object. Let's now revisit the example and execute the code to check the result. After running the code, we successfully obtain the column names as output to the console. This confirms that the query is correct and has returned the column names as expected. Keep in mind that the cast method will work only if the elements in the source collection can be successfully converted to the target type using a reference conversion. If the conversion is not possible for any element, the cast method will throw an exception, invalid cast exception. It's essential to ensure compatibility between the types when using cast to avoid runtime errors. To understand this point, let's consider the following example. Suppose I have the following object array, which contains integers. To query the numbers of this array as integer type, we can use cast method in this way. In this case, the variable item is of type integer. And I can access the properties and methods of integer value. Everything is okay and no exceptions will be thrown, because the object array contains only integers. So, I changed the object reference to integer. Let's now check another object array, which contains the following items. As you can see, it contains integers, but also numbers as string. So, not all items are of type integer. If I am using the cast method in this way, an exception will be thrown, because I am trying to convert a string to integer. As already mentioned, cast method doesn't convert from type to another type. To convert the strings to numbers, I need to use unboxing conversion. So, you have to make sure that you are using the cast method only for a collection, which can be successfully converted to the target type. And we cannot use cast method to convert from a type to another. We can only use it to change the object reference. Cast method can be used only in this way. We set the method name and in braces we write of and then the target type. It always returns an 𝗖𝗵𝗽𝗍𝗀𝗪 of target type. For example, cast of integer returns 𝗖𝗵𝗪𝗀 of integer. Cast of string returns 𝗖𝗵𝗪𝗀 of string. Cast of file info returns 𝗖𝗵𝗪𝗀 of file info. And so on. We only have to use this method if we are working with a collection of objects, which can be converted to specific type. Remember also the method of type, which can also be used for collection of objects, to return only the elements of a specific type. Later I will use cast method in the examples, and you will learn more about it. That's all you have to know about cast method for now.